How did you start out with the White Sox?
I was in college at Bloomington, Illinois, and they had a scout there that invited me my junior year to come to Chicago and work out with the White Sox. I hit 490 something that year, and at Illinois, I graduated from Illinois Wesleyan.
Right.
And so I went, and Paul Richards was the manager at that time, and I got to take infield with the guys and everything. Got to hit batting practice with the extra guys, and Paul Richards was the manager, and so my weekend was over. My coach went with me, and Coach Hornberger, because I told him I'm not going anywhere without you because I'm only a junior, and I've got another year, and I would have been the captain of baseball and basketball at Wesleyan. So we go, and I work out, and they had one of the regular guys came out too to pitch, and threw a while. He was threw harder than I could see, and he hit me right in the back of the ribs, and I jumped up, got right back up, and he got on the field, and I guess Paul Richards thought, well, this guy's maybe pretty tough. So we went up to the general manager's office. He said, I don't remember the general manager at that time, and he said, we'd like to sign Bobby Winkles. And I said, well, I'm not doing the talking. It's Coach Hornberger. And they talked a little bit, and I just sat there in the corner. And then he said to Coach, Coach said, we would not think anything about signing unless it's for $10,000 or more. So the guy that was the general manager left the room, and I thought, hey, you've kind of messed this up. And he came back with all written in that we're going to here's the $10,000, and we'll give him $300 a month. $300 a month, and he's our property. And my coach just about fainted.
He probably should have asked for more.
Yeah, well, he didn't. With $10,000 back in that time was a lot of money.
Oh, exactly. So you played in the minor leagues for 7 years. Was it tough knowing that you had a chance to? Go ahead.
No, playing in the minor leagues, some people think that, but it's an honor just to be able to play in the minor leagues. No matter how long you play or not, you can always say you played professional baseball. And so I went there, and I enjoyed my time. And then Uncle Sam called me for 2 years, and that was the year after my first year. Colorado Springs. That's where I started out in A-ball. In those days, they had an A-ball, B-ball, C-ball, and D-ball. And I got to skip the first three and start out with A-ball. And that's how I got with the White Sox, and I stayed with them for 7 years, got to AAA for parts of 2 of those years, and then realized that Aparicio and Nellie Fox were a whole lot better than me, and they weren't that old yet.
Oh, exactly. They were the cornerstone of that 50 team that went to the World Series.
Yes, that's correct.
So what made you decide to go into coaching?
Well, I just wanted to be a coach all my life. That's all I wanted to do. And so I had gone to the University of Colorado while I was playing and got a master's degree. And so Arizona State had an opening, and had helped out my director's son. He was a pitcher, and I'd worked with him a little bit so in Colorado there. So he said I went over to see him when I was with Indianapolis, and told him I was ready to get out. Our first daughter was born, and I had put in 7 years, and I knew I wasn't going to make it. So with those two guys, so I got a call, and the guy, his name was Clyde Smith, was the athletic man, and he told me, Bobby, I hear you're going to get out of professional baseball, and I'm looking for a young guy. I was only 68 at the time, and so I said, okay. And I went to Arizona State and had no baseball field, so I built one.
Did you know that when you went there they didn't have a baseball field?
No, that was the funny part of it. Ellie and I and Kelly, they were still in bed, and I jumped up about 4 or 5 o'clock, run around, looked when we got in there. I'm looking for the baseball field. I'm walking all over the place. Only 10,000 students then. And so, Dave, I just walked in and I said, Mr. Smith, I don't see a place for a baseball field. I can't find the field. And he looked at me with a little grin and says, Bobby, I forgot something. What's that, sir? I forgot to tell you. You're going to build it.
How long did it take for you to get a field built?
Oh, it took about, we built the field in about September, October, November, December, January, February. 7 months.
So was it hard attracting players to a new college to play? Because Arizona was established, you had USC, UCLA, but no one knew about ASU for baseball.
That is correct, and we knew we was going to have a little hard time because I didn't have any scholarships. And then at my second year there, because I came there in September, so it was too late to get any help for the guys that came out. I didn't even recruit anybody. I just came directly from Indianapolis to Arizona, and so we didn't have the material, but we had some pretty good guys that were just there playing beforehand. But Dave, it was not they didn't play in the conference or anything. So we played in the first conference game, and we played Pepperdine the first time ever, and that's how we got the field. A guy named Bob Swab, SWAB, Bob Swab, and I put that field together. He was the grounds crew for the whole university.
How long did it take before ASU started giving scholarships to baseball players?
It was my second year, and all I had was 12 room and boards and meals. That's it. I mean, room and board and books. Room and books. And our guys had to work for their meals.
And their tuition wasn't covered.
Yeah, tuition tuition and the room. They got that, and then nobody got that, but they got a half scholarship. Rick Mundy didn't get one, didn't get a full scholarship. Sal Bando didn't get a full scholarship.
Was it tough getting players that you couldn't get full scholarships?
Well, I had my background was, I guess you could say, the guys that the fact that I had played 7 years of pro baseball, that kind of, and then I had everybody trying to help me. I mean, they wanted to get the program going, and a math teacher ran a little league or so, whatever it is, and then he came in and saw me a year later after started, they can get a room and board, and said he had some good players on his team in Ohio, and that's where four good players came from there. Sal Bando and a catcher, and they all were good players, and that was our big start.
And then you got Rick Mundy, which helped too, and Reggie Jackson.
Well, yeah, we got Rick Mundy and Sal Bando and Reggie Jackson. Bando and Reggie and Rick was on the first national championship, and they both signed after that, so that was gone. And Reggie was a year younger than 2 years younger than Sal, and 1 year younger.
So did
Reggie
get a full ride or no?
Did who?
Did Reggie get a full scholarship? Was he half also?
No, he was a football player. He got a football scholarship. He was first team in the conference. He made the first team in his sophomore year.
How did you convince Frank Kush to let him play baseball?
I didn't. Reggie's a smart guy, very, very intelligent. And when he signed, he really wanted to play baseball, but I didn't know anything about him. And so Frank Kush, one of his scouts, saw him playing football and told him how good he was. And so Frank gave him a full scholarship because he had like 80 full scholarships, and gave him a scholarship in football. So he always had his scholarship.
I heard Reggie didn't like to get tackled, and that's why he decided to play baseball. It was a lot easier on him than football.
He didn't do what?
He didn't like to get tackled. That's why he wanted to play baseball. It was a lot less contact.
Well, he didn't. He wasn't a running back. You heard some bad stuff. He was the middle guy on defense, and he was all conference his sophomore year. A lot of stories about Reggie that some people didn't think he was very understanding when he was after he got out of college, because he became actually a baseball ace as soon as he did. But Reggie Jackson was great to me, and to me was like a son. And he listened to me, and he listened to Frank Kush. If you ever read his book, or in one of his books, he's got 4 or 5, he'll always mention Bobby Winkles and Frank Kush.
Was football and baseball treated equally at ASU when it started, or did football get more preference?
Oh, football was way ahead of us. They were winning conferences, and they were very good. So, but to be truthful with you, we were the group that made Arizona State well known because of winning those three national championships in 5 years. Then everybody got to know about who was that team that did that.
I mean, you built a national champion for, 6 years and started?
We were there 6 years, and then we won in 65, 67, and 69. and I came here.
What was the key to your success? Was it getting the right players? Was it your coaching or a combination?
Yes, it was help from scouts and everybody. Once you've played pro ball, and scouts know who you are because I played as high as AAA 2 years, and they want to help somebody that they think if a guy will not go to college because his parents won't let him or something, and that was before the draft, and so they helped me. They told me who Mundy was. They told me who a lot of players were, and I just called the players, and the players would come to Arizona State on a half scholarship and a job.
Were you ever able to get full?
Oh yeah, I got 20 full ones after we won in Omaha.
What was it like winning that first World Series?
Oh, you can't explain it. You can't just. Here I was, just 30 years old. I was 28 when I got there, and I was only 33, and playing against those older coaches, and that was fun.
Was there any competition between you and Frank Kush?
No, my baseball players, some of them played for him, and he had 3 or 4 guys that played for me. Frank Kush was a jewel.
He was tough, though.
You can't believe everything you hear in sports.
No, you're right. I mean, I talked to Frank Kush last year, and he was talking about that bull ring throw. That thing was tough. He was a tough coach, but he got the best out of his players.
Well, I was too. I was the boss, and they knew it. So the fact that they had to run as much as they did, they called me as something afterwards. But after they got out, all of them got good jobs, and they're all right now 75, 78 years old. They still call the old man and say, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" And "How's Ellie doing?" And because Ellie and I have been married 62 years.
She's a saint.
It's been a nice life.
Who was the best player you ever got?
I don't answer those questions.
Is there a player you missed that you wish you got? Is there one that got away?
Yes, well, I wish Mundy hadn't gotten away, and I wish Reggie hadn't gotten away, and I wish Bando hadn't gotten away. The draft got all those guys, and I had to find replacements for them, and that's just about impossible, Dave.
How did you end up deciding to become a major league manager?
Because the major league, when you get out of it, and you get your pension, you get a college pension, you might get $30 a year. Well, you get out of if you can get 10 years in professional baseball, you get in at 80,000, and that can work up from a little bit from that, but from not that. So it takes a longer time for coaches. Managers get it, and the players get the most of it. But I just talked with Ellie, and I said, we're not going to do anything but stay here and win a bunch of World Series, because we could get good players anytime we wanted to if they didn't sign. And I said, if we go into baseball, their pension plan's quite well. And she said to me, "Whatever you think, Bobby, that's what we'll do." So we picked up our 3 girls, and we headed for California, because the Angels came by and said they wanted me to manage their AAA team. Heck, I got a AAA team here. And then they finally said, "Well, would you be a coach?" And Ellie and I talked about that, and I said, "I think I can get 10 years in." And she said, "Okay, Bobby, if that's what you want to do." So that's how we got to the big leagues. They came and got me. I didn't ask for it.
What was Gene Autry like to manage for?
He's a wonderful guy. Just got a lot of great stories, and but he thought they could win without spending money, and when he found that out, then they started winning. And it's too bad he wasn't around for the World Series because he died. But he never interfered with anybody. The general manager was probably more of a boss than he was.
You had a pretty good starting pitcher in Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, I did have a pretty good. He pitched his first 2 no-hitters when I was his manager, and just was the hardest working guy I've ever seen in baseball. And so you'd have to say, and he's written a chapter for my book. So, and Mondays.
Because he was a young guy with the Mets, but he never unharnessed his talent till he went to the Angels. What
he didn't throw strikes enough for them.
Like Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax had the same problem.
Yes, they did. And he got there, and we had a pitching coach by the name of Tom Ellie. What's Tom's last name, a pitching coach? Tom Morgan. And he would, just give me a minute here.
That's fine. Take your time.
Okay. Nolan would stand out. He opened up too fast, and Tom would stand right behind him. And once in a while, he'd come stepping on because he opened his left foot too much. And he got him to get the left foot aimed at the home plate, and then it was all over for a lot of teams. So Tom Morgan gets a lot. As a matter of fact, Tom passed away, and I've got and Nolan came to his funeral from wherever he was.
Then you went on to manage the A's, and you had a couple of your former players there.
Yeah, I went on to manage the A's, and all the guys were gone. But what happened is when I got fired from the Angels, 10 days later, Finley called me and said, "Bob, I'm firing my third base coach. I need you here, and we're going to New York tomorrow, so be here and be ready to get on the plane." So I did. And I got a ring for 1974, and the guys gave me, it was later in the half, but the guys voted me a half a deal of the World Series money. And at that time, it wasn't much.
And you had what? You had Sal Banda was on that team, and Reggie and Rick Monday?
Yep.
So it was your guys who were winning for him?
Well, they had all good players. It wasn't just those 3 guys. I'm telling you, Campy Campaneris was a great player, and Dick Green was a great second baseman. And John Rudy was a great left fielder.
You had Catfish Hunter,
Catfish, and we were too powerful for anybody.
So how did you end up getting the A's job, the managing job?
Well, Finley fired Jack.
Or Dick Williams?
No, Jack McKeon.
Oh, Jack McKeon, you're right.
Yeah, because he wanted to hire me as the manager because we'd all been fired when Alvin Nart got fired after a little problem with Mr.
Yeah, Charlie Finley didn't want to spend a lot of money either, like Autry.
No, he didn't want to spend money, and so when he fired McKeon for something, and then he came with me, and 2 years later, we were 19-5 to start out the season, and I couldn't take any more of him. So Ellie and I talked again, and I said, we need to get out of here. So she said, okay. So we were leading the league, and I got out of it then, and it was a good thing I did. I lost some money, but other than that.
Isn't it hard to quit a team when you're 19-5?
No, not if the manager's a horse's rear end.
I don't blame you. Because, I mean, you had some good young talent on the A's when you left.
Nope. Now, we had some. When I left them, they lost 99 games, starting out 19-5.
Because they didn't realize how important the manager was.
Well, no, they were all playing good, is what it was.
Then you went back to where you started with the White Sox.
Yep. I went with the White Sox. Stayed with them 6 years. Montreal, 8 years.
Who was the White Sox manager when you went back with the White Sox? Was it La Russa?
Don Kessinger.
Kessinger? Okay.
Yeah. And, of course, in August or July or something, he couldn't play. And I was kind of I guess you could say I was an assistant manager. I made all the spring training things, and they got him to try to call in a few more people because he was with the Cubs, and we weren't drawing very well. And so he finally just gave it up.
Were you ever offered the chance to manage the White Sox?
No. I never asked for it either. I never asked for the job, so I don't know if I'd have been fired or not. I mean, if I'd have been hired or not.
Could you ever imagine Tony La Russa would have become as successful as he was?
I worked for him 3 years as a third base coach, and another 5 years as the director of player development, and he is a very smart person.
Because he's a lawyer.
Yeah, that doesn't make him smart, but it makes you cunning.
Then you built up the Expos farm system. You got some great players with them back in the 80s.
We had a good team. Yes, we did. Just we're a little short on pitching. We were 2 games behind St. Louis with like 4 games to play, and we couldn't catch them to be in the playoffs.
Who was your biggest find when you were with the Expos?
I don't know.
Is there a player that you found that you thought, boy, this guy's going to be great, and he turned out to be even better?
I didn't have anything to do with who's picked. That was with the. I was in charge of the for the God dang it. I was for the White Sox. See, I took a job with them to try to start the minor leagues. So I've been around and always had a good job.
How do you feel now that another ASU manager is managing the big leagues with the Padres?
I know it. How about that? Oh, I'm happy for him because he was always good to me when he came in, and when I left, and he drove over for 3 or 4 hours, and Murph is a good guy, and I hope he'll do all right.
I feel bad for him, though. He never could win that big game at ASU.
Could not do it. So I think he was there 17 years and went 3 or 4 times, and they just couldn't get their pitching well enough.
Because you won, like you said, 3, and your predecessor, he won, what, 1 or 2?
He won 2, and that's all they've won. They haven't won since 1981.
When's your book coming out?
It's probably come out in the next month or 2. I'm not going to try to do too much in the off season because the most copies I probably will sell will be at Arizona State and with the Angels people. And we don't have anyone yet cut down to do the work, but if he doesn't, we're just going to go and self do it.
Reggie Jackson's a good. Reggie Jackson, you should have him promoted. He's a great promoter.
Well, Reggie wrote the first chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you still golfing with Frank Kush?
Frank Kush, I haven't lived in Arizona for since 1958.
So you and Frank still get together?
No, Frank is like me, only worse. And I don't get there very often because I can't drive with bad eyes, and I can't hear very well. So I only go back for really big events once in a while, and to tell you the truth of it and how great I feel about it is one of my players picks me up in Blythe, one of my old players. They take me in where the traffic and stuff is, and they bring me back to Blythe.
That's a great way. Your players love you.
Well, they say that quite a few times, and I'm proud of that because they had to become men when they left here. When they were here.